Assalamu alaikum everybody and welcome back to day 4 of Aqsa Week Kids. Today our adventure takes us to the courtyard of Masjid Al-Aqsa. Now underneath this paved courtyard there is a very special underground prayer area, and this is known as Musalla Marwani. Now this underground area is pretty huge. It can hold thousands of worshippers. To get to this area, there is a short flight of stairs outside in the courtyard. This whole area was said to be built by the Umayyads. Now, during the time of the Crusaders had taken over the Masjid Al-Aqsa and they had changed this area into stables. Now, even today, if you look very closely at the columns underneath in Musalla Marwani, you'll see that they've got holes in them made by the Crusaders, and they would tie their horses to these pillars, and this area could hold hundreds of horses at a time. It was during the time of Salahuddin Ayyubi, rahmatullah alayhi, that he changed this area and cleared it all up. Now, since then, this area has been renovated, made into a masjid, and so many people from all over the world come here to do itikaf during the blessed month of Ramadan. Now you may be thinking that what is itikaf? So itikaf is when you devote your time, you spend your time to the worship of Allah, to the remembrance of Allah. Now this got me thinking of someone very special. Her name is Maryam alayhi salam, and she used to also perform itikaf in Masjid Al-Aqsa. She would devote her time to the worship and remembrance of Allah in this very special place. She had a very special connection to Masjid Al-Aqsa, and you know what? I'm going to tell you all about it, so welcome to story time. Our story today begins in Jerusalem with Hannah and Imran. They were both known to be very good and pious people who obeyed Allah. They were very happy, but Hannah had some sadness in her heart. You see, she didn't have any children and she really wanted to have a child. And one day she saw a bird feeding her chicks. When she saw this, it made her even more sad. How she wished that she had a child that she could take care of, just like this bird was doing for her chicks. So, when you really want something, what do? That's correct. You make dua, and that's exactly what Hannah did. Hannah made a special dua to Allah for a child of her own. She made a promise to Allah that when she has this child, she would put them in the service of Masjid Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. Allah made Hannah's dua come true and blessed her with a beautiful baby girl whom she named Maryam. Hannah was so happy that her dua had come true. However, there was a problem. Hannah was worried because she had made a promise to Allah. Do you remember what that promise was? Hannah made a promise that she would put the baby in the service of Masjid Al-Aqsa. Now the problem was that in those days, girls were not given in the service of Masjid Al-Aqsa. It was a tradition that it would be a boy. How will she fulfill this promise that she made to Allah? Now Hannah took care of Maryam, and when Maryam was a little girl, Hannah took her to Masjid Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. Now the caretaker of Masjid Al-Aqsa was actually Maryam's uncle, Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam, who was also the Imam of Masjid Al-Aqsa. Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam became Maryam's caretaker. He built her a small room in the Al-Aqsa sanctuary. Maryam alayhi salam would stay in her little room in Masjid Al-Aqsa. There she spent her day worshipping and remembering Allah. She never got tired of praying to Allah. She was so good. She was such an amazing woman. Beautiful manners and character, loved by everyone. She was such a special person that Allah mentions her 31 times in the Holy Quran. There is even a surah of the Quran named after this wonderful lady. Now, while looking after Maryam, Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam saw some things that really astonished him. He would see that Maryam would have fresh fruit which was out of season. So in the winter, she would have fruit that can only grow in the summer. And in the summer, she would have fruit that can only grow in the winter. This was impossible. So one day, Zakaria alayhi salam decided he would ask Maryam where she got the fruit from. Maryam said, "It's from Allah. Allah can give to whoever He wants." Now, Zakaria alayhi salam knew that Maryam was someone very special and Allah had given her many blessings and goodness. He had seen it with his own eyes. After seeing this, Zakaria alayhi salam also made a special dua to Allah. He asked Allah for a noble child. You see, Zakaria alayhi salam and his wife are very old and they also didn't have any children. Allah blessed Zakaria alayhi salam with a special baby named Yahya, who also grew up to be a prophet of Allah. Now let's go back to the story. One day, Maryam alayhi salam was alone in her room in Masjid Al-Aqsa when a man appeared in front of her. She got so scared, she was horrified. She warned the man away. "I seek protection from Allah against you." She told the man, "If you fear Allah, then stay away from me." She warned him away. The stranger, in fact, was Angel Jibreel alayhi salam. He had brought a message and some good news from Allah. Jibreel alayhi salam reassured Maryam not to worry, that she was going to have a righteous son. Now when she heard this, she got even more shocked. She asked the angel that how is it possible that I would have a child without the father? The angel Jibreel alayhi salam went on to explain that it's easy for Allah. Just like Allah created Adam without a mother or a father, Allah would create your baby without a father, and this would be a miracle. Now when time had come near for baby to be born, Maryam alayhi salam was so scared. She was so worried that how is she going to face the people? So she decided that she was going to leave Masjid Al-Aqsa and leave Jerusalem. One day, Maryam was resting against a date palm tree. She was in so much pain and she was so scared. She heard a voice saying, "Do not worry, Allah had provided a stream for you to drink." And she heard the voice instructing her to shake the date tree and the fruit would fall for her to eat. Now Maryam looked around, but she didn't see anyone. She knew that Allah was helping her. So she followed the instructions. She ate the dates and drank the water. This was all from Allah. Maryam alayhi salam gave birth to baby Isa. He was a very special baby because he was a noble prophet and a messenger of Allah. But now Maryam had to face the people and tell them about baby Isa. She was so worried. She didn't know what the people would say and what if they don't believe her. All this stuff was going through her head. Allah instructed Maryam that when the people ask, stay quiet, don't speak. So Maryam alayhi salam carried a baby in her arms back to Jerusalem. Now people saw her coming from afar and already they were talking and they were in shock. Word had spread quickly and soon the people gathered around her. The people wanted answers. So what do you think Maryam did? Do you remember what Allah told her? Yeah, that's exactly right. She didn't speak. She just stayed quiet. The people didn't let it go. "Speak up, Maryam, speak up." But the people were getting angry and kept asking her, so she pointed at her baby. Now this made the people even more angry, that why is she pointing to her baby? But then a miracle happened and baby Isa spoke. He told the people that he was a slave of Allah and Allah had given him a book and made him a prophet. Now after seeing this miracle, the people could see that baby Isa was someone very special and this really was a miraculous birth. Now Isa alayhi salam grew up in and around Jerusalem and from a very young age, Isa alayhi salam began to tell people to obey Allah. He told them to be good and to be honest and to help the poor. After Isa alayhi salam grew up, Maryam alayhi salam continued to stay in Jerusalem around Masjid Al-Aqsa until she passed away. What an amazing lady and what a special place Masjid Al-Aqsa is. This is the end of our adventure And inshallah, I will see you tomorrow for our last day of Aqsa Week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.